Welcome. All right. So I just spent the past 30 minutes trying to I'm going to make Sevon sweat right now, picking up this roadcaster like this. But I just spent the past 30 minutes trying to get this massive thing to work. As you can see, it's not plugged in, so I didn't get it to work. So I don't know if JR and Bryson and I will be doing our live podcast shows like we planned on doing unless I can get this behemoth working. But anyways, this is our new iteration of a coaching development series that Bryson and I are going to be taking advantage of with Todd Occhiuto, who we have here. He's a CrossFit level 4 trainer, seminar staff trainer, mentor at best hour of their day. And Kristen Bowen will be helping with Bryson. So we're going to alternate weeks, essentially. This is going to be a coaching development series similar to what I did with McCoy, where we watch a segment of my class. He coaches me through it, how to improve, what I'm doing well, what I'm not doing well, what I need to do differently next time, etc. So week 1 will be me. Week 2 will be Bryson and Kristen. Week 3 will be Todd and I. Week 4, Bryson and Kristen, etc. We're going to alternate back and forth. And I think for us specifically, it's great to have general development from a mentor, but specifically, Bryson and I just registered for our level 4 courses, and that now is like a maximum 6-month process where you have 4 different sessions and they walk you through and then you have an evaluation. And so this is going to be I won't even say extra credit. I want to say this might even be our meat and potatoes for making sure that Bryson and I actually pass. So Todd, welcome.
Yeah. Excited to be here, man.
Yeah. Any quick intro on kind of your coaching experience? How long you've been doing CrossFit?
Man, I've been doing CrossFit, I think a little over 20 years now, coaching probably close to 18, which is wild. First affiliate I was a member at was actually what we'll watch the video on, was at CrossFit Charlotte. It was at the previous location. I was working for a bank at the time doing that, but yeah, man, just been around the space for a while, which has been fun to watch it evolve, and been fortunate enough to be on seminar staff for a long time and work with some of the best coaches out there. So learned a lot from them. So excited to be able to try to do the same thing. And that's what I'm doing here. That's what we want to do here with you guys, is provide more access to feedback and examples of good and great coaching. And that's what we try to do with Best Hour of Their Day as well, is like, we've got the Knowledge Pro, which is a cohort of coaches along with a bunch of resources and examples of coaches doing it right. And so we want everybody to get better with this stuff, the same as sounds like you guys do with Sentinel.
Yeah, for sure.
Up and getting them to move better.
Do you remember what your first CrossFit workout was?
I can tell you, I started doing CrossFit when I got told about CrossFit. I had a couple of different people point me towards CrossFit.com. And so I would say I started dabbling with it, but I didn't do it right. So one I vividly remember was it was actually on Valentine's Day. I want to say it was 2006 or 7. Fran was posted, and I was in grad school at the University of Florida. And I took some of my buddies. I'm like, hey, we're going to do this workout with thrusters and pull-ups. And I didn't get the clock. I didn't get any of that stuff. So it was I did 21 thrusters. My buddy did 21 thrusters. My other buddy did 21 thrusters. Then we did pull-ups. Didn't do any of that shit right. And we got done on, it was hard because I'd never done thrusters, metal plates and all that shit. But I was like, I got to go do some more stuff. But my first workout in an affiliate, and this was a year after I thought I'd been doing CrossFit, I did a CrossFit Jax in Jacksonville. And at the time it was kind of close to a fight club where it was a bunch of Navy guys that just went in and threw down. And I walked in and they were like, well, you're new. We typically put new people through something like an intro workout. And I was like, no, I'm pretty good. I've been doing this for a while. And the workout had running, light thrusters and light pull-ups. And it was 400-meter run, 30 thrusters, 30 pull-ups for 3 rounds. And I almost died.
That's literally a nasty workout.
Oh my gosh, dude. We did the thrusters, did the pull-ups, went out on the run. I was behind all the other guys. When we got to the turnaround at the run, I started puking. And there's it's a neighborhood. Little kids are riding their bike. They're pointing at me. They're laughing. I was not even back to the door by the time they were out on their second run. And it was one of those scenarios where I was like, I should either quit and go home and never finish this and never do this again. Like, is it more embarrassing to give up in the middle of this thing in front of all these guys, or finish the workout? And somehow I finished the workout. I think it took me like 30 minutes. It took everybody else like 12 minutes. And there was no like coach coming up being like, hey man, how you doing? You got this. Let's scale it down. It was just like everybody laughing and pointing. And it was bad. And I was living in Charlotte at the time, and CrossFit Charlotte was like an hour away from where I was living. So I could only go on the weekends. I was like, if I'm going to keep doing this shit, I better find an affiliate and learn how to do it right. So yeah, dude, it was
That's awesome.
Interesting to say the least.
That reminds me of one of my first experiences with Andy at CrossFit Charlotte. I was coaching Murph one day, and I had just started coaching at the gym. Maybe I'd been there like a few months, and the first heat had already gone, and Andy was part of the first heat. So they're all like sitting on the football bleacher bench, like drinking a beer, watching everybody else go. And we had this new guy who wanted to coach named Branson, was doing the workout, and it was in the summer, really hot. And he looks up at me with like these puppy dog eyes during his push-ups. And he's like, can you get me some water? And Andy looks at me. He's like, don't get him any fucking water. It was just like the Dave at the games. You can get water if you want it. It was just hilarious. I went and got him water. I was like, no, I'm going to get him water. That's funny. All right. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like in the early days at Charlotte, there was no clocks on the wall. So you would show up, and the workout would be the .com workout, or if it was an off day, he would program something. And it would pretty much be like you walk in, and a bunch of coaches had stopwatches, and there'd be like 2 or 3 people about ready to go. And they'd be like, hey, they're about ready to go. You want to jump in with them? And I would like throw my jacket off and grab the barbell and just jump into the workout. It was crazy.
I love that.
So yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. So for the format we're going to be doing, we'll start with the first 2 weeks for both Bryson and I will be whiteboard brief and then the general warm-up. So this will be the first episode. Todd will review my whiteboard brief and general warm-up of a class. And then I'll take all that feedback, apply it to another video that's a whiteboard brief and general warm-up. And then ideally we'll see the improvement, and then we'll move on to the next segment of a class, and we'll continue in this fashion. This week, the workout was 3 rounds for time of 50 kettlebell swings, 35 box jump overs with a step down, and 20 handstand push-ups. So 3 rounds, 50 kettlebell swings, 35 box jump overs, 20 handstand push-ups. An old handy classic. Might have been from main site, but all right. Do you want me to pull the video up and get started?
I've got this thing, but real quick before we go, and I'll kind of do this with each section, is tell me what you're trying to accomplish when you're doing the whiteboard brief.
So when I am doing the whiteboard brief, I'm trying to keep it generally under 5 minutes. And my goal is to communicate the stimulus of the workout. So how long it should take, how many reps of each movement you should be able to do, the feel, so to speak, of the workout, to communicate scaling to get that stimulus for each movement. So scaling for the kettlebell, scaling for the jump over, scaling for the handstand push-ups, to answer any questions for people with limitations or people that are newer. And that's pretty much it. Stimulus and scaling overview.
Sweet. All right. Let's, I actually got it. Let me, if you give me permission, let me pull that up so that way I can pause or whatever, if that works.
How do I give you permission? I think if I just add it to the stage.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Now you can control it.
Let me see. All right. That's it. Is
All
it
right.
playing?
Okay, guys.
Yep.
First thing, we got Court.
All right,
He's
cool.
it's your second class, third? Second. Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome. And where are you coming from?
So first thing, I want to watch it overall.
Yep.
So we'll just watch the entire whiteboard brief, and then we'll talk about what you're trying to achieve. And then we're going to talk about kind of our process in the format that we typically give on how to go about achieving that
Perfect.
stuff. Yep.
Where's Jim actually joined? In Charlotte? Yeah, nice. Awesome. Hey, great to have you. All right, guys. Workout today. We've got a classic CrossFit workout that's going to combine kettlebell swings, box jump overs with a step down, and then handstand push-ups. We have 3 rounds of 50 swings, then 35 box jump overs, and then 20 handstand push-ups. So it's a low round count, but a very high rep count of each movement within each round. And the workout's taking people between like 12 to 18 minutes. Any questions to start about the workout? 3 rounds, 50 swings, 35 jump overs, 20 handstand push-ups.
Let me ask you this real quick. How often do people have questions for you? Like that far in, if it's kind of a straightforward workout outside of like a weird scoring one?
I don't want to say infrequently, maybe 30% of the time.
And what is it usually about after that?
Why would we step down from the box? Or are the kettlebell swings all the way overhead if I didn't say that? Or something along those lines.
Got it. Okay. All right, cool. Let's see. We'll keep going.
Well, you see,
All right.
are you able?
Couple
Hey,
things to note.
Yep,
are you able to? Are you hearing the video on your computer out loud?
I am.
Okay.
Is that causing
Is
the
there any
echo?
way? Is there any way you can turn that down just a hair?
Yep.
If not, there should be an echo cancellation feature. It's probably already on.
Let's see. Let me see what we got. Let me play it. Tell me if it's any better.
Yep.
The kettlebell swings are going to be all the way overhead, so we'll take
Any better?
I think that's good for now. Yeah, let's keep rolling with it.
Okay.
it from the hinge position, finish with the kettlebell pointing directly to the ceiling. For the box jump overs, you don't have to stand up all the way at the top, but you do have to step down. So you jump up with both feet, step down on the other side, and that's 1 rep. For the handstand push-ups, you'll have a floor mat. If you're calling the workout as prescribed, make sure it's just even, and you can perform a kipping rep here. What we want you to be able to do, if you're attempting the workout as prescribed at the 24 or 16 kilogram kettlebell weight, you need to be able to perform at least 20 reps in a row while fresh. So if you can look at the blue or red kettlebell and say, oh, I could do 20 unbroken, easy day, then this weight's probably okay for you to hit in the workout. For the box jump overs, you should be able to perform about 20 a minute if you're attempting the RX volume. That's 1 rep every 3 seconds. If not, we just take the reps down a little bit or reduce the height. And then finally, for the handstand push-ups, if you can do at least 10 in a row when you're fresh, you're likely okay to do the workout as prescribed. If you can't do 10 in a row, we either need to modify the volume, add a riser pad, or change the movement variation to make it a bit easier, or modify it. Any questions on the stimulus we're looking for? All right, if we're gonna modify the swings, first way we can do that is reducing the loading incrementally. Second way we can do that is just going to eye level. For the box jump overs, we can reduce the volume first, then the height second. If you can't jump, we can do a box step up. And then for the handstand push-ups, again, volume first, then we can add a riser pad or 2. If we still can't do that, we can go to pike push-ups on a box or even just regular push-ups. Okay, any questions? That's it. So we're gonna go through general warm-up. We'll focus.
All right, sweet. So based on the goals that you gave, obviously you want to be less than 5 minutes. This was great because it was less than 3 minutes. You want to cover the stimulus, the feel, the scaling, ask for questions. All of that stuff is accomplished. Now here, when we're doing this, it's going to be a little bit more efficient and easy to follow along if there's some structure and one piece of it leads to the next. So if we go back just right off the bat, you did a nice job of covering the workout. If we get, what we always recommend is you start with just the workout itself, say exactly what it is, say how it's scored, and then what is the big picture stimulus that we're looking for. So macro level of that thing. And I think you did that for the most part. There was a little bit of extra add around, let me see what we got here. I think you talked about like volume and stuff like that before stimulus. I would recommend saving that for a little bit afterwards. Okay. So let me see if I can get back to that part. So if we look.
Nice, awesome. Hey, great to have you. All right, guys, workout today. We've got a classic CrossFit workout that's gonna combine kettlebell swings, box jump overs with a step down, and then handstand push-ups.
I don't think that's a big deal, but the fact that you're about to tell them what the workout is and that you're going to tell them that there's kettlebell swings, box jump overs, and handstand push-ups probably doesn't need to tell them that, because that's exactly what you're about to say with them, right?
Yep.
We have 3 rounds of 50 swings, then 35 box jump overs, and then 20 handstand push-ups. So it's a low round count, but a very high rep count of each movement with.
Similar here. This is one where it's like, I think that's obvious, isn't
Got
it? It's like they see it's 3 rounds. They see that it's high reps. I think there's a place to talk about the reps more specifically as it gets to stimulus, but I would probably cut that piece out. And then right now you jump into the stimulus, which is exactly what we want.
Within each round, and the workout's taking people between like 12 to 18 minutes.
And I think you can tighten that up a little bit more around like, hey, what is your ideal target for this thing?
Not what
like
other people. Yep.
Yeah, not what are people doing. It's like in this turns into the fact, and a lot of time we see this in coaching where it's like, it's almost like the coach allows the athletes to pick their own adventure rather than the coaches being the ones that are going to be like, hey, I want this to be X time. And so this is how I'm going to get you there. So if you think about that workout, 12 to 15, my assumption is the ideal stimulus is going to be 15 minutes, right? Is that what you're looking for with everybody? 5-minute rounds?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, all right, cool. We're looking for this workout to take about 15 minutes, give or take a minute on either end. Now you've covered the workout, you've covered the global, the big time stimulus. And now what you can start doing is backing your way into the feel of the workout, meaning how do I achieve that with each piece, each movement, each piece of each round. And then this also leads you to scaling options. So for example, right after we cover that, if it's 15-minute workout, that's the stimulus that we're looking for. So what that means, guys, is that we're looking for 5 minutes per round. That means that, what is it again? It's 50 kettlebell swings or it's 40 kettlebell swings?
50, 35, 20.
Sweet. So it's 50 kettlebell swings. What I need is for this to happen in roughly 2 minutes. How we're going to get there is no more than 3 sets.
Got it.
Cool. If we can't do it in 3 sets, we'll lower the weight. We might even change the range of motion. Boom. Now you've covered stimulus, loading, and even scaling options to some degree, right? Because you're going to be scaling as you're coaching the specific warm-up. And so a lot of that stuff, people just don't listen to things, right? And it's like you want to paint the picture to where they listen enough to start thinking through what they want to do. But ultimately, you're going to cover all this stuff later anyways and give them more specific guidance. So you probably can just cut that off by giving them just enough information to have an idea. I'm either going to do less weight, change the range of motion. I need this done in 3 sets, either day, easy day. So you cover that. That's probably it with the kettlebell swings. Then you do the same thing with the box jumps. Hey guys, it's 35 box jump overs. I need that to be done in roughly 2 minutes, 90 seconds. If we can't do that, we're going to lower the height, reduce the volume, or I might let you step over this thing. Cool. And now we go to the handstand push-ups. And this is where you can maybe add some guidance of like, here's going to be the challenging part of the workout. I need this one done in X, whatever that is for you. And what would you say with 20? Are you guys, I'm assuming that these are kipping or these are kind of anyway?
Yeah, they're kipping handstand push-ups. So, I'm thinking probably sets of 5 during the workout is ideal. The average class goer is not going to be probably doing more than sets of 5 on the 3rd round after 150 kettlebell swings.
So then that allows for you to go like, hey, ideally I want this done in 4 sets. Yeah. I can live with 7 sets of 3 or whatever that is, the last round. And now it's like, I've painted the picture. If you don't have handstand push-ups, our options today are going to be whatever I would say at max, like 2 things. We're going to do the pike push-ups or we're going to do a dumbbell seated press. And like you give them just enough of that to where that now they know where they're going next, right?
Yep.
And now you've pretty much covered all the same stuff that you spend the next about 90 seconds or 2 minutes to talk about on the video, but you've done it in roughly 30 seconds. And more so, it's in a pretty logical framework where it's like, hey, I've covered the workout, I've covered the stimulus, I've talked about the stimulus for each movement, which has covered the scaling options and the strategy essentially to get there. And now I'm through that and we can jump right into the general warm-up stuff and just move on from there.
Perfect. I have couple questions. First,
Yep.
before I don't want to get far away from this point. You mentioned a dumbbell seated press as a scale for the handstand push-up. I tend to rely on a regular push-up after a pike push-up more. And I guess the reason I do so is, okay, you think that's fine?
Yeah, I don't like.
Awesome.
Go ahead,
Cool.
finish your thought, but go ahead and say.
Well, in some of the early Glassman articles, he talks about the full progression of a push-up is like the freestanding strict handstand push-up. And so again, the inverse would be the regression of the handstand push-up would be a push-up. And I find that a lot of times females specifically, but men too, who really struggle with handstand push-ups just suck at regular push-ups.
Yes, absolutely. Right. And it's core strength and body position in order to do that. And so then you can start scaling that way. And I think that's perfectly fine. My only thing with any of this stuff is like it says in the articles, is we want to provide as much variance in our scaling options as we do in our workouts themselves. And so my only thing would be like, hey, let's just try not to always do the exact same scaling options. But there is like, I was talking with Pamela Gagnon about this, and I'm like, hey, we do a lot of the pike handstand push-ups, right? People that have push-ups, but they don't quite have handstand push-ups. I'm like, is there other things that we should be doing? And she's like, well, to get your handstand push-up, you've got to do a version of a handstand push-up. And that is kind of like second down the line with this type of thing. So yes, I think your regular push-ups are a fine scaling option. The additional thing that I'll say is whatever it is that you choose, I think that works, but I would put those parameters, and that's what I'd cover in the brief. Today, our option is X or Y, and that's it. Because I'm sure you've been in a class as well where it's like, I've got 12 different athletes and 12 different athletes want to do something different. Yeah. And if I allow for that to happen, it's a freaking nightmare. So, yeah. All right. Cool. So I think, what's that?
One other question. Banana Dance Man says, what's the point of telling them the stimulus? Not trolling. In the days of your LOL, no one told us, and it didn't matter. We did the WOD anyways.
What's funny is I can remember this probably had to have been 2009 where I heard somebody like, hey, you should tell your athletes how long this should take. And I remember like, that was dumb because who knows how long it'll take? What if I go really, really fast? I don't want to tell somebody to essentially go slower because this is what I tell them the workout should feel like. The reason we tell people the stimulus is because nowadays we actually scale appropriately, and the stimulus is the intention of the workout. I mean, Taylor, you can speak to this, right? Every workout that you guys create for Sentinel, there's a purpose behind it. There's a time duration that we want, which means we are hitting an energy pathway. There is a volume approach to and a loading approach to the workout. And so what that means is we tell people the stimulus, for example, let's go to Fran. Hey, we tell people that we want Fran to be somewhere like 8 or less minutes. If you do Fran RX, but it takes you 22 minutes, you did not do Fran. Yeah. And that's what I did in 2009. That is not what we do now that we actually understand this stuff and scale appropriately.
And I find that when someone gives me a focus or a theme to put my mental attention toward, I get a lot more out of practicing or doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And then where was Papa Frank. For those who aren't interested in getting upside down, I let them do dumbbell press. The other thing I considered, and I did a lot of this before I actually did CrossFit, were just foot elevated push-ups. I haven't done that scale for handstand push-ups in a while, but like a gentleman probably is the best subject for this scale, who just is newer to CrossFit and doesn't have handstand push-ups, but they can do some push-ups, maybe a foot elevated, like a decline push-up.
And grab some like parallettes or something like that too, or even some plates. We did a workout actually with that yesterday, which was nice. Yes. And I think to the articles that you were talking about at Glassman, like he talks about that. That's how you achieve a handstand push-up. Right. You start with your regular push-up and then you just continually raise the elevation of your feet until it turns into a handstand push-up. So I think that's a fantastic way to do it. Papa Frank also talks about if you want to get upside down, then we need to do proper progressions. Yep. One of the other things I'll say is if you are scaling to a push-up or Z press or even a pike push-up or whatever you want to call it on a box, if the athlete has the ability to get upside down, give them like put into the scaling options, having them kick up against the wall. Number one, it's like that's the fun part of the handstand push-up. Plus, like you can do all the pike handstand push-ups you want on a box, all the regular push-ups, but until you get comfortable being upside down and start to get used to that, you're not going to get there. So figuring out how to add that to the equation more often than not, I think is going to be valuable as well. Yeah, we got another question. When do you explain the stimulus time for the scaled athletes? Ooh, let's bring that up.
Here we go. Got it. I think, well, I guess you're asking me, so I'll answer what I would say first, and then Todd can correct me or whatever's wrong. But I explain the stimulus of the workout, and then we modify athletes to hit that stimulus. So it's not, this is the stimulus for RX, and here's what's for scaled people. It's, hey, you should be able to do 10 reps in a row for the handstand push-up. So now whatever scale we're going to apply to you for that movement, you should be able to do 10 reps unbroken. Same thing for the swings. If we want 20 in a row and you're fresh, well, we're going to scale the load or the range of motion incrementally to get you to that. Or for what Todd was saying, if we're looking for 5 minutes a round and that's the main overarching stimulus, well, we're going to modify the volume of the range of motion incrementally or the loading to get you to that 5 minute round.
Absolutely. And like, that's what dictates our scaling.
Yeah.
You explain the stimulus to paint the picture for everybody. And so the way that Taylor's describing the stimulus in that whiteboard brief, he said, 12 to 18 minutes. Ideally, it says 15 minutes, but that's what it should take for people that are going to do that workout as prescribed with the weights, the movements, and the volume of reps that are expected that are written on the whiteboard. And so what that does, and the reason that you then dive into the subset of the stimulus, talking about each round, each movement, and like rep ranges, is that paints the picture for the scaled athletes to help them start to understand, and then also starts to direct you as a coach on how you're going to direct them. Hey, I need the kettlebell swings done in 3 sets or less. So that means as a coach, I better know my athlete well enough or be able to evaluate the way they're swinging that thing to determine the load or the range of motion or the volume of reps that they're going to be able to accomplish that in 3 rounds. And that's my job. It's not their job. If we're leaving it up to them and we're like, all right, guys, here's what I want 5-minute rounds. Good luck. Taylor, as well as I do that more often than not, people choose incorrectly, right? So we want to be the one directing that stuff. Real quick, let me, I'm going to pull up one more thing to show if I can. Let me see if I've got this. I might have to pull this thing off. We've got a checklist that actually folks can download, and I'm going to give you a link to it here, Taylor, in a minute.
Yep.
I'm going to unshare this thing real quick if I can.
I can remove this from the screen, and you can just pull that up to that window, and I can share it again. Maybe.
For some reason, it's not giving me the option to share my screen again.
Just text the link to the private chat. Do you know how to do that? If you go to comment or if you go to comments or private chat down low on the other side.
Yeah, I'll get that and get that to you guys. All right. As far as whiteboard brief, you feel good with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. Let me do this. I'll get this as we keep watching this thing, and I'll get it over to you as we keep going. This will be good. All right. Here we go. Go ahead and pull that. Yeah, we've got this back up. So now we'll just watch the rest of the whiteboard brief. So you've just covered the stimulus here, and just watch and notice just kind of how it bounces around just a little bit. You cover all the information, but by going step by step, it'll make it a little bit simpler for you going forward. So we'll watch this, and then this will lead us to the general warm up.
Any questions to start about the workout? 3 rounds, 50 swings, 35 jump overs, 20 handstand push-ups. All right, couple things to note. The kettlebell swings are going to be all the way overhead, so we'll take it from the hinge position, finish with the kettlebell pointing directly to the ceiling. For the box jump overs, you don't have to stand up all the way at the top, but you do have to step down. So you jump up with both feet, step down on the other side, and that's 1 rep. For the handstand push-ups, you'll have a floor mat. If you're calling the workout as prescribed, make sure it's just even, and you can perform a kipping rep here. What we want you to be able to do, if you're attempting the workout as prescribed at the 24 or 16 kilogram kettlebell weight, you need to be able to perform at least 20 reps in a row while fresh. So if you can look at the blue or red kettlebell and say, oh, I could do 20 unbroken, easy day, then this weight's probably okay for you to hit in the workout. For the box jump overs, you should be able to perform about 20 a minute if you're attempting the RX volume. That's 1 rep every 3 seconds. If not, we just take the reps down a little bit or reduce the height. And then finally, for the handstand push-ups, if you can do at least 10 in a row when you're fresh, you're likely okay to do the workout as prescribed. If you can't do 10 in a row, we either need to modify the volume, add a riser pad, or change the movement variation to make it a bit easier.
So all that, like, once again, all that stuff's good stuff, but I think less is more. Like when you tell them I need 20 in 2 minutes, you don't need to tell them it's 3 seconds a minute or 3 seconds a rep or something like that, right? And then like, hey, riser pad or this or this or that. You don't necessarily need to do all of that stuff because you're going to be covering that. So it's just, hey, I need you to do 10 in a row unbroken. If not, we're going to scale the volume, or I'm going to put you on a box or have you do a regular push-up, and then boom, we move on and we go from there. All right. So
James Hobart says hands in pockets. Is that a demerit? Listen, I'll save this. I'll bring this comment back up at the end of the show because I have something to address with that. There was a purpose to that progression, James.
The hands in the pocket progression.
Yes. Yeah, there was a purpose to that. Let's move on though for now.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Or modify it. Any questions on the stimulus we're looking for? All right, if we're going to modify the swings, first way we can do that is reducing the loading incrementally. Second way we can do that is just going to eye level. For the box jump overs,
it's like we're revisiting, like you've already talked swings. This is now the 3rd time you're talking about kettlebell swings, right?
We can reduce the volume first, then the height second. If you can't jump, we can do a box step up. And then for the handstand push-ups, again, volume first, then we can add a riser pad or 2. If we still can't do that, we can go to pike push-ups on a box or even just regular push-ups. Okay, any questions? That's it. So we're going to go through general warm-up. We'll focus a lot on the handstand push-up. We'll practice some skill, and then we'll get into the workout. So what we're going to begin with, we will need a band for pass-throughs and good morning. So grab maybe a black or purple band. We'll spread out, and then I'll go over the warm-up movements from there. Bands. Oh, you got them. Sweet.
Let's see.
Grab a band and spread out.
All right, we'll do the same thing I did before the whiteboard brief. So tell me, what are we trying to accomplish in the general warm-up?
For me, it's in general, I think it's to get the heart rate up, take the joints through a full range of motion, but the movements that I want them performing in the general warm-up should allow me to see points of performance or faults that will show up in the specific warm-up and in the movements they're going to be performing in the workout. So like I take a list of movements that are not high skill, not heavy, not anything like that. They're typically dynamic stretches or activation or getting the heart rate up, but all of them have some sort of carryover to a kettlebell swing, a box jump, or a handstand push-up.
Yep. Yeah. So obviously the athletes, were priming them and prepping them and getting their body warmed up and ready to rock and roll for the workout. For you, I love hearing that. It's like we are priming and prepping our ability to coach the movements and positions that are in the workout. 2 additional things that we can do here is we're making connections, right? We're checking in with folks, trying to, create a deeper bond and get a feel for who they are and how they're doing that day. This is also an option and an opportunity where we can start the process of going through scaling options and getting people ready for their workout. And we'll go through this, but that's definitely one of the things that we can add to the equation with what you did in this general warm-up, is especially where there's a workout with something that you're going to have to scale quite a bit of, and probably most everybody, like handstand push-ups. This is an opportunity to walk around and being like, hey, Susie, how are we feeling today? What are you thinking about the handstands? You get them give you some feedback, and then you can jump in and be like, yep, that's what I was thinking. That sounds great. Or here's what I was thinking. And you can start to cover some of that stuff just so you don't have so much to do on the back end of this thing. Yeah, CrossFit says scaling options and any equipment acquisitions, and you got the boxes up and all that stuff. So, all right, let's take a look.
Yeah. 3 rounds for fun.
Do you think that I could use one of those boxes and stuff up and down?
Yeah. We'll get it out in a minute. Okay, guys, here's what we're going to begin with. We're going to start on the floor without the band. We're going to do 10 supine leg swings. What I want you guys to focus on here is trying to keep your upper back on the floor as you rotate your hips and lower body. So what this will look like, arms flat, keep that upper back on the floor, and kick the hands. This will warm up your hip flexors and low back. So 10 supine leg swings.
Like how simple that was, but you also gave them why we're doing that. Hey, here's what I want you to do. Here's how to do it. And here's why we're doing it and what I want you to think about. Upper back on the ground, take your feet across. That's just enough, because obviously you're not teaching like you would in a specific warm-up, but you're covering what you want them to think about and what you want them to do.
We're recording myself. Why do you need to be a non? Okay, this is Amy. Her address is okay. Just dox you.
Now, like that's the kind of connections. Obviously, that's great for a general warm-up. As they're going through, and I know we'll see you do this, and you do a really good job of this as we go. But look for opportunities to coach. The other thing that I didn't mention yet is that yes, we can get them warmed up. I can start working on seeing positions that are going to be in the workout. But you just already want to set the tone too, that I'm going to cue you throughout. I'm going to say your name. I'm going to give you a cue and correction. I want you to respond to that. And you do that as we're going. But if we look here, she's kind of rolling back and forth. There's probably some opportunity to at least tell her something to do, right? It's like if we're doing this, take advantage of the opportunity, if she's not doing it how you just explained it to her, to give her some guidance there. And I know there's some things in a general warm-up where everybody kind of warms up their own way, and she might be gradually working to that, but still worth at least mentioning or taking note of it.
10 reps, 10 reps. Don't pause so long, Haley. Just kick and turn, kick and turn. Uh-oh. You hurt?
Just like that, where you're able to start giving some stuff, and now you're asking about an injury, so you're uncovering something, which is great.
Okay, just sore. All right, guys, after those 10 swings, let's pop up. We'll grab the bands, and then we'll do 10 banded pass-throughs. What I want you guys to focus on are squeezing the abs down and keeping the elbows straight as you pass through. So squeeze the abs and the butt, lock it in, and then pass through. Nice, Brenda. Brenda, squeeze the abs down a little more when you go overhead. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love the fact that you, once again, you gave a point. Why are we doing this? And what do I want you to focus on? And that's where your eyes went right off the bat. That's exactly what we want. And this is huge. Like, why is this so important for the workout that you've got, that you've got programmed for them?
Well, really, I guess the box jump and the kettlebell swing and the handstand push-up, but predominantly to me, the handstand push-up is going to be staying in a stacked position, keeping everything squeezed down rather than overarching in the handstand push-up.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you mentioned the kettlebell swing. So although I would say, to your point, the kettlebell swing is secondary with this, yeah. I think it's more important in handstand push-up, but you and I both know that as soon as somebody's hands go over their head, their butt goes back, and that huge overarch. So the fact that you're thinking ahead and you're already, once again, I'm starting to give cues and corrections, one, to fix that position, but now I'm setting the tone with these athletes that I'm going to expect those things to go wrong when the kettlebell's over their head or when they're doing their handstand push-up. And I've already come up with some language or some cues that I know work or didn't work. And so you're going to be able to fast track your corrections once the specific warm-up and the workout starts. So that's great.
Yeah, good. Nice, Court. Good, Ailey. Nice, crushing it.
Love the fact that I feel like almost everybody's name has been said already. That's huge. We want to say names, as many times as we possibly can. as you're going through, and I think this would be the good time where as you're saying somebody's name and you're kind of doing a check-in, this is where some of the scaling conversation could be. Hey, what are you thinking about this thing today? What do you think about the handstands? What do you think about the kettlebell swings? Here's what I've got for you. This is my plan. What do you think of that? Just to get some of that stuff out of the way as there's a little bit of downtime here.
Okay. 10 reps here. Squeeze those abs down, Jason. Yep, nice.
Hell yeah.
All right, after those 10 pass-throughs, we'll step in the band, loop it around the neck, and we'll do 10 banded good mornings. Really focusing on keeping the legs stiff and the back straight. Feet a little closer. Tom? Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Nice, that's it. Good, Mike. Sarah, a little less bend in the knees, so just a slight flex, keep the chest up. And then Brenda, I really want you to focus on arching your back a little more, so keep the chest up in the bottom.
So many people go through stuff like this in the general warm-up and they think it's general, and so they don't look for these things and they don't cue and correct. Like, this is awesome. This is exactly what we want to see. This is why you're doing it. You're looking for all the exact right stuff, which is awesome.
It's a little better. Look at me. Don't look down. Think about this in the bottom.
Nice.
Yeah, so just, yeah, that's better.
And that process right there was great. It was like you did verbal cue, didn't work, changed the verbal cue, didn't work, switched to a visual cue and a different verbal cue to continue working on that. Like that example of being relentless and continuing to find what it is that's going to resonate with that athlete and make the change that you want is spot on. That's exactly what we want to see.
Good, Lisa. Keep the chest up, Amy. Back nice and flat. 10 reps here. Good, Court. You can bend the knees just a little more, Court, if you want to. Just a hair. Yeah. Good, Robin. All right, after these 10 reps, we'll go to our box for 10 alternating step-ups. And then we're going to continue this for the next 5 minutes.
Do you notice that you did something different with that last movement with the box step-up, that you left something out that you had provided with every other movement? Do you know what it was?
Yeah, I didn't give a focus or a point of performance or
just something for them to concentrate on, right? And that was something that you did so well on the ones before. Not only is that great for them because now they know what they're working on, but for you, it reinforces and reminds you, hey, what is it that I'm looking for? So let me ask you this. What is the thing that you want them concentrating on and thinking about with this one?
On the box step up more than anything, I just want them getting their heart rate up and moving a bit fast. And I could say that.
You could say that. What else? Like what mechanically, like if you think about
posterior chain engagement, it's extending the hips at the top and just really, what are you looking for?
Anytime somebody's knee or legs are bending, what do we want to concentrate on? You know,
pushing the knee over the toe. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
And like for a box, we want our foot flat and hey, I want you to think about knee tracking out or whatever that is.
Okay.
And so watch this guy as he does his steps.
Yeah.
Especially this right knee. See that?
Yeah, I wonder if it's in the video, but I go and talk to him. Okay.
You do in the, and I think it's
after
in the
those 10 step ups, we'll go back to the 10
it's either, I think it might be the
swings.
second round you get to the good mornings. And so, yep, you see it and you get there and you mention it because it's going to be important in the jump, right? Hey, when you jump is what you cover with him. But this is one of those where it's like, hey, I'm giving them the movement. There's a reason behind that. Take advantage of looking for those things because I actually think it's more obvious here than it actually is when you see it later, right?
Yeah.
And so, hey, you're doing a great job of getting around. You're checking in with people. You're giving cues and corrections. Make sure that you're taking advantage of that opportunity in each and every one of these movements. And to be honest with you, I almost think it's harder in something like the banded pass through and the lying leg thing that you did. Like the box step up is that more mimics things that we do in workouts. So this should be technically, I'd say, the easier movement for you to see stuff with because this looks like positions that you see in squats and lunges and all the rest of that stuff.
Make sure you stand all the way up at the top. You can go to a 20-inch for the warm-up, Tom. Yeah, don't do too much. Mateo, Court, just go to 20 inches. Yeah, make it a little easier. And just try to go fast. Get the heart rate up a little bit.
Nice.
Back to those supine leg swings. Keeping that upper back flat on the ground, shoulders square to the ground. Good, Mike.
Nice.
Let's keep these dynamic. Get the blood flowing. Good, Mateo. Try to keep both arms down. Yeah.
There we go.
Upper back on the floor.
Nice.
Good, Brenda. You like my hair?
I especially like the fact that you led them through the first round. It's like you coached each one, and then it's like, hey, we're going to keep doing this for 5 more minutes. And once they're kind of now on their own, right? You've cut them loose. You've already given them the guidance. You've made some cues and corrections. I think this is the portion of that where you really can start focusing on the scaling options. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think now it's like, all right, I'm hands off a little bit more here. So let me get around, check in with people, and start giving and setting myself up for what they're going to do once the workout starts again. Let's see. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit.
After 10 leg swings, we'll be back on the band for 10 banded pass-throughs. Nice. Way to squeeze the abs down, Mike. That's good. I'll get this out of the way. Sorry. Oh, Patty. Okay, you're echo biking.
Better camera position would be nice.
To get a few more folks. That's all right. I still hear you and get the stuff.
Squeeze those abs down. Haley, keep the abs tight.
I love the fact that you're staying on all the cues and corrections. And this is something that I'm working on too, is like when there's downtime like this, it's like, what can we do, especially in the general warm-up? Because you're going to get more structured. There's going to be more quiet time when you start instructing. It's like, can we get a little bit more conversation? I think you bring up something here in a minute about a t-shirt that does that, but I would try to be intentional on that. I'm not a huge fan of like question of the day at a whiteboard, because then everybody's answering, you're just standing there. But like during this time, if you had something you could bring up to try to get dialogue going, especially, just to kind of fill some of the space, that's something to consider there. Yeah, go.
Same thing, Anna.
Can I ask you a question before we move on too far?
No.
Yep.
So there are a lot of comments asking about time versus reps-based warm-ups and trying to keep everyone together. And sometimes I'll do time-based, sometimes I'll do rep-based. I find when I'm doing rep-based, about, I don't know, depending on the actual warm-up that I'm doing, I'll cut some people off and some will finish a little early. But to the other side of that, sometimes when I'm doing time-based, there are people who just do actually none of the reps that I want them to do in that time. Like I give them a minute of supine leg swings and they'll do 2. So and that's not common, and either way is not super common. And I feel like generally speaking, when I'm working the room and giving people cues and telling them to continue moving, people are doing what I want them to do. And I don't really have an issue with people just slacking off a ton, except for the 1 or 2 oddballs who do that no matter the structure that you give them.
Yeah. And I think what you did here, which is kind of a combination of the two of them, right? You're like, I want 10 reps of each movement and we're doing it for 5 minutes.
Yep.
And so I'm similar to you when I'm like, all right, guys, give me a minute of air squats. Like, well, if, I'm not told how many reps I'm going to do. I'm going to get 2 accomplished in a minute because I'm going slow and I'm talking crap. And also if I go, hey, give me 3 rounds of 10 reps of each of these movements. Well, some people feel like it's their workout and they're going to be done in 30 seconds. And some people are going to be talking to their friend and they're going to get half the first round done. So I like the idea of essentially like an AMRAP. Hey, I'm going to give you structure.
And that's what this was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I like this. I do think there's a time and a place for any option there. But to your point, we should be aware enough as coaches of who's not moving, who's not doing things, or who's moving too fast. And the people that move too fast are going to be done early. I'm going to give them a little bit of extra stuff. Hey, you got done, hop on the bike and give me 10 calories or something. The person who's going slow, I'm going to be like, hey, Johnny, let's go. We're warming up more than your jaw. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
I need you to do this.
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do that frequently. Well, just quick. I think what was missed by some of the questioners was I took them through a full round. Then I started a 5-minute clock and said, hey, for the next 5 minutes, we're doing 10, 10, 10, as many rounds as you can get, whatever.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's fine. Does 5 minutes of free time give them too much free time to slack? I don't think so. I would say I run my warm-up similar to this more often than not.
Yeah.
I do on occasion do like line drills and things like that, more of a dynamic warm-up where I'm calling rounds and reps and having them do stuff completely. Right. But I like, especially in a workout like this one, I like the freedom of letting people kind of move on their own, especially when I know I have to scale a bunch of stuff. I've said that to you a couple of times. It's like if I'm calling reps of a dynamic warm-up or we're doing, down and back, high knees, butt kicks, shuffles, that kind of stuff, I don't get the one-on-one time to connect with people as early and start saying, hey, here's what I want for your handstand push-ups. Here's what I want for your pull-ups, which can be valuable in a workout like you're coaching today. So there's positives and negatives to any of this stuff. As long as you're doing it intentional and you know what some of the drawbacks are and it's still going to fit within your lesson plan and it accomplishes the point of getting people warmed up, I think you'll be all right. Anything else in there we want to address?
I think that's good.
This is Andy's workout. Yeah.
It was earlier on the one.
I don't know. Hey, yeah, keep them locked in. Come on, you can talk like that. I don't know what it was earlier. I know this morning it was this, and last night it was this, I believe. So I checked it. Good, Mateo. Let's go. Chop, 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 chop.
There we go.
10 banded good mornings. Then we'll be back on the box. Good, Brenda. You can bend the knees a little more, Brenda. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Brenda.
Brenda, bend them.
But that, also, when you we're going to see this on the jumps too. But when you do your good mornings, I don't want the knees coming in at all. Push the knees out over the toes. Same thing when you jump today. Jump, make sure the knees stay out.
That's awesome. That's huge. I just think you're good enough to where you can catch that sooner. You're a little bit more intentional. You know what I mean? It's like you caught it, which is fine and well, but it was there early. I think you can get that early. And here's the other. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the most consistent battle I have as a coach is seeing something and making a decision to say or not to say. And I should always just say it. Yeah, exactly.
And here's the other thing. I got to imagine that you coach the same athletes. Like, do you coach the same class times pretty consistently?
Yeah, I alternate between two, and I coach these athletes pretty frequently.
So here's the deal. And here's where we should be working towards is now, this guy well enough to where he has he has a tendency for his knee to cave in. And so you're like, cool, next time we squat, that's immediately what I'm looking for. And immediately I'm coaching him on. Next time we're doing push press, I know in the dip, his knees are going to cave in. So I'm going to look for that. I'm going to tell him that. Next time we're doing jump rope, I know his knees are going to come together. So I'm going to tell him that. I'm going to look for it, all of that kind of stuff, to where it should be like you're saying these things almost out of habit and reminding them, because you already know what to expect from almost all these athletes. And in fact, you did that with Brenda, right? You had seen it and fixed it earlier. And now we're getting to the second and third round and you're checking back in and you're like, remember, bend your knees. It's the same thing that you fixed earlier. And that's all we're typically doing, is kind of repeating the things we've seen earlier and reminding them to get there to hopefully make that a new habit. But we're just guiding them back to what we had already fixed.
Heidi asks, what do you do when a member just won't keep up with the warm-up and keeps doing their own thing? I really have only this issue with one person, and they're also a coach. And to be honest, and every time I have this person in my class, I know that's what's going to happen, and they always do it. And the biggest struggle that I have is not committing my time and stress over it and focusing on the people who are there to get better and want to get better. The reason it's challenging in that context is it is a coach, and some people do look to them for as an example, but I just try to be a more powerful presence than that person. No, it is not Bryson. You guys wouldn't know them. And it just is what it is. I don't know.
Have you had a conversation out of class with them?
I don't know that it's my place. I've had a conversation with Andy about them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he hasn't? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's just, I don't think it's intentional in any way. It's just, yeah, it's I don't know. It's tough.
I think to your point, and here's the deal with me is like, hey, what's the goal of a warm-up? It's to get people primed and prepped and ready for their workout. Different people need different things. Typically what I want is if you need something different to get to the gym a little bit early and do your extra stuff before we go so you can be a part of the group.
Right.
If somebody does something different because they need to do that to be ready to rock and roll, as long as it doesn't distract from the class and cause other people to think they can do their own thing, it really doesn't bother me, right? And to your point, if you've got a strong enough presence and you're a strong enough coach, everybody else is gonna follow you. And so it's like, don't take it too personal, no big deal. I will say when it's another coach, that type of stuff is tough because we should all be on the same page doing the exact same thing. And you should be more respectful to, like, I will tell you, when I am in somebody's class, even this happened, like if I'm dropping in or anything, and somebody tells me to do something, I don't care what it is, I'm doing it. Even if I know that it's not necessarily the right thing, I will do it for that day because I'm an athlete and my job is to follow along with whatever the coach and the leader is telling us to do. So that part's tough, but I think to your point, it doesn't always need to be a big deal if you don't make it a big deal. And as long as it doesn't distract everybody else, you're probably fine.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yep.
Good.
I think like you finish this one and then you jump into, and I'm going to fast forward a little bit. You jump into another version.
Like I wasn't thinking about anything going on here. I was probably in another.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's a second component or whatnot to the.
Yep. And so it's got jumping jacks. Let's see what you cover here.
We're going to do 5 inchworm push-ups and then 10 hollow rocks. Let's start with the jumping jacks and then I'll walk you through the next 2 movements. So just start 20 jumping jacks, 20 reps, ready to go.
Like this is same deal. Like potentially, is this something that she does on purpose just because she likes to do that to get warmed up? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Another girl, they do like this. And every time you tell them to jumping jacks, they do something different. They think it's funny.
Okay. All right. If that's the case, then that's all fine. Yeah. If it's not and they don't know what to do it, it's like coach them up if that's the case. Yeah. But if it's just a thing, then
this is their way to safely lash out emotionally, you know?
Okay. It's like, all right, perfect. This is your safe space. You can come
be a rebel.
You want, right? Yeah, exactly.
When I'm done with this, come on. All right, after those 20 reps, we're gonna start with the hollow rocks. What I want you guys to focus on here is the same squeezing the abs and the butt that you felt on the banded pass-throughs. We're gonna try to shape our body like a banana and rock slightly, so watch me. You'll be on the ground, squeezing the abs, arms.
Say that?
No, I was just, when I was going over this, everyone was kind of jumping into it before I was telling them to jump into it. I'm a little frustrated, but whatever. So I could have given more direction of just saying, hey, I want you guys to stay standing and watch me do it. Then I'll have you do some reps. And I missed that.
Yes. And I think like you go down and demo and yours looks amazing.
Overhead, rock back and forth, nice and smooth for 10 reps. Ready, go. Feet.
I don't know many athletes, even good athletes, that can literally drop on the ground and just pop out a hollow rock like you did right there. So to your point, I would give a little bit more guidance on one, hey, watch me real quick, guys. And then this is a movement that I would probably give a little bit more instruction for the first one. Like, hey, lay on the ground, bring your knees to your chest, hands under your heels, crunch up. All right, now if you can, reach your arms or reach your legs. Like anything that's a little bit more complex, you don't have to teach it like it's a 10-step progression like you're teaching the Bergner warm-up. But if it's something that people are probably going to mess up, give a little bit more guidance there. Now, to your athlete's credit, which in turn means to you and your coach's credit, like they do a pretty good job of that and you call that out as they go here. But I do still think that this is a hard enough movement for people to do right that you give them a little more guidance. And then most people probably also need to do a scaled version of this of knees in or hands in or something like that anyways.
Gather arms overhead. Point the toes, Haley. Nice. Good, Amy.
To your point, it's not.
That's really good, Court. Point the toes and keep them together. Yeah. Nice, Mateo.
Yeah.
Hey, way to go, Tom. Nice. Whoa, you guys are crushing it.
Yeah.
Nice, Era. Good, Lisa. All right, now we're going to do 5 inchworm push-ups. What I want you guys to feel here is that same midline tension. Keep the abs tight. And then when you walk the hands out, make sure we're pushing through the floor. Push up and then walk back up. Nice active shoulders, push through the floor. 5 reps, 5 inchworm push-ups. Keep the abs tight, push through the floor. Great, Anna. Keep your butt a little higher in the push-up, Robin. Yeah, just a little bit. Good, Amy.
With this, watch the gal
Nice push-up,
in
Jason.
the corner.
Good.
Yep.
Try feet a little closer as you warm up.
So this is probably one where you give some freedom on like, hey, I need you to lay all the way down, chest to hit, even if you press up from your knees or even if you want, whatever that is. And then just make sure. It seems like maybe, I don't know if she has shoulder issues to where push-ups aren't in the cards or there's something there that might already be known. And maybe that's the case. And if that's the case, that's fine. If that is the case, see if you can have a mental note of that to where you should go into this knowing like, all right, I've got push-ups in the warm-up. Brenda can't do push-ups. So I'm going to make eye contact and go, Brenda, just do the inchworm without the push-up. And then you give her the freedom. And then like, especially as you're moving towards your L4, it's like, we can't read your mind. So I got to know, I got to hear you talk about what's going on in there. You know what I mean?
Got it. Yep.
Yep.
All right, we'll do 2 more rounds of this. 20 jumping jacks, 10 hollow rocks, 5 inchworm push-ups. 20 jumping jacks, 10 hollow rocks, 5 inchworm push-ups. You guys got it.
So I think that like you continue going through, you keep coaching people up. I think those are the big things with this is general warm-up, keep looking for opportunities to coach. You do a great job of this. I think you can do a little bit more.
Okay.
Take an opportunity to continue to connect with people. Love how much you're using people's names and you say it like you said, probably everybody's names 3 to 5 times already in the journal warm-up, which is awesome. But take it the next step farther and start getting into some of the workout stuff, scaling options, plans, weights, all of that kind of stuff, just so your job's a little bit easier as you get going further on. But other than that, general warm-up's great. We covered the stuff on the whiteboard brief. Keep the same information, just reorganize it to where it's a little bit more logical and straightforward.
Okay. So action steps for next classes, a linear flow to the whiteboard brief and more concise.
Yes. And I'll get you that checklist. So you have it.
Yeah. Yep. I have the link now. And then, or is this a link? Are you talking about a checklist specific for me?
No, I don't. It's the same. It's the same one that the link will take you to.
Okay, yep. Let me pull this down then and pull this up. So here's the.
It's going to ask you to do. Let's see. Let me stop sharing this. Let me see if I can now share my screen since I got rid of that.
Okay.
I don't. For some. Oh, there we go. Share screen. Here we go. All right. So this is what you're going to download when you guys get it. Can you pull that up?
Yep.
All right. So we got the checklist. So if you're an affiliate owner or you're a head coach or you're evaluating somebody else's class or just their whiteboard brief, or shoot, if you're a coach, videotape your whiteboard brief, you can use this as a checklist. And we built this out if there's 2 elements, but the workout you had today had 1 element. So it's like, hey, you're going to say the workout is written, the name, the format, the flow, how it's scored. So, hey, this one, it's 3 rounds per time. It's 50 kettlebell swings. It's 35 box jump overs. It's 20 handstand push-ups. Your workouts for time today. And what we are looking for is about 15 minutes. So how do we get there? We get there 5 minutes per round. So what that looks like is no more than 3 sets on the kettlebell swings. If we can't do that, we're going to lighten the weight. We might reduce the reps or change the range of motion. With the box jump overs, I need it to be done in no more than 2 minutes. If we can't do that, we're going to lower the reps, lower the height, or we'll do step overs. And then the handstand push-ups, I need you to be able to do that in roughly a minute. So I need 10 unbroken to start with, even if it breaks down to 5s and 3s late. If not, we're going to decrease the volume or change to X, Y, and Z, right? So that covers total target time, how to get there per movement. That covers the feel of the workout and brief strategy as well. And then you hit the key scaling options and why, and then you're good to go. So We've got two pages of that. So that'll be the big thing for next time with the whiteboard brief. And then the general warm up, keep doing what you're doing there, but look for more options to cue and correct. And I want to see some of the scaling options or the
start the scaling conversations earlier. Yep.
Yeah. The athlete specific scaling conversations a little bit sooner.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool, okay. Yep. So we'll do our next, I guess, cleanup of the whiteboard brief and general warm up in 2 weeks. Next week will be Bryson and Kristen's week 1. That'll be Wednesday, 10:30 Eastern. Show's already scheduled. Like and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you guys get the updates. See you guys next week.
See you guys.
Oh, real quick.
What do we got?
See you guys next week.
Here's why you should be proud to be doing Sentinel training and strongly consider joining if you're not. Other programs use long-term repetitive cycles. Sentinel uses 4-week varied progressions, while other programs often slip into movement redundancy or recycle entire training blocks. Sentinel stays true to the CrossFit methodology of constantly varied functional movements. That methodology also guides us in delivering intensity with minimal effective dose, where others favor volume, misrepresenting that as value for money. If you want a hands-off approach with minimal coaching or review, stay where you are. If you want level 3 trainers who care about your progress and test the workouts for you, reviewing your videos, offering coaching and feedback, then you need us. You need Sentinel Training. Start your free trial at trainsentinel.com.